Welcome back. We're going to talk about in this second video the possible solutions that have been thought by different people around the world to fight against climate change and to try to save the planet, as some people say. Save the planet also means saving the humanity, okay? Because if the disasters that are predicted happen, humanity will not stand a chance. So what are the solutions today? If we go back to nuclear energy, we talked about the Fukushima disaster, etc., but often nuclear electricity is seen as a clean electricity. It doesn't emit CO2. There's no CO2 emissions. There are no greenhouse gases. So nuclear energy is often seen as the possible future to get rid of oil in our everyday consumption. So a lot of research is focused on nuclear energy. For example, the International Association of Scientists around ITER, and they are also researching the nuclear scientists the possibility of nuclear fusion. Okay, nuclear fusion, a lot of money is invested in that. We are told that we might be able to have electricity from nuclear fusion in 80 years. We might. It's not sure. Okay, but scientists are working on that. On the other hand, other people say nuclear energy is too risky. It's also expensive because now in France, for example, the government subsidizes nuclear plants, but these nuclear plants are supposed to be maintained. They are supposed to be closed down when they are too old, and the company managing them is not doing that. So therefore, the electricity is staying at a low price because the state subsidizes it. But on the other hand, the repairs, the closing downs are not happening. So some people are saying that it's too risky and countries should get rid of nuclear plants and nuclear energy altogether. But what else can they do? For example, Germany has decided after the Fukushima disaster to get rid of nuclear energy to be able to focus more on renewable energies such as wind or solar power. But for the moment, in transition, they are relying a lot on coal-powered stations. Coal power stations produce electricity thanks to coal, and as you know, burning coal means more CO2 emissions. So there is a dilemma here, what to do if you get rid of nuclear energy. There are other ways to produce energy that are being explored today. The first one, at the moment, the big focus is on shale gas. And the method for extracting shale gas from rocks, which is called fracking, hydraulic fracturation, and it's called for short fracking. So the USA and Canada are putting a lot of hope in this shale gas. They are hoping of becoming independent. They're saying that shale gas pollutes less when it's burnt than conventional oil and gases, for example, and it will enable them to be independent in terms of energy production and consumption. In France, for example, the extraction of shale gas is still forbidden, but might not be for long. So activists are campaigning against shale gas. We'll see in class what is the controversy around shale gas. And other people are saying that it could be the future of energy supplies in France too. In countries such as Canada, where there's a lot of tar sand, also a focus has been made on extracting this tar, which is a kind of oil, from these sands to become independent from Arabic countries, for example, to for political and economic reasons. So there are a lot of different sectors, areas in the world that are starting to produce new kinds of raw materials like gas, like tar, in order to become independent in terms of energy supplies. Other countries, and sometimes hand in hand, at the same time as they're exploiting shale gas, they are exploiting renewable energies. So other countries are focusing all their efforts on renewable energies, or some of them are doing half and half or 80-20% to keep looking for alternative fossil fuels, shale gas, tar sands, and at the same time looking at improving renewable energy supplies. Countries like Denmark, for example, have focused solely their main efforts on renewable energies, from the wind with wind turbines, from the sea with wave power, from the sun, solar panels, etc. So renewable energies, some people are promoting more renewable energies. They are promoting also more sobriety, less consumption, and some are even promoting degrowth. Degrowth is the opposite of growth. These people are saying, instead of looking at consuming more and more, producing more and more, that is to say polluting more and more in a way to produce, but also then the waste, instead of doing that, of looking for always more products, we should go back to less, to be more reasonable, and degrowth wouldn't be such a bad thing for those people. Other people are trying to get rid of all the GMOs and chemicals in the agriculture and are promoting organic agriculture, or also what is called agroecological agriculture. An agroecological agriculture promoted by people like Pierre Rabhi in France, for example, or Vandana Shiva in India and internationally. Agroecology means that you produce in a small scale, but you have high yields. It doesn't mean that you don't produce much, but it's a small scale with high yields, and you produce in harmony with nature. That is to say, you select plants that go well with the local climate. You do not employ people to exploit them, but it's in harmony with nature and with human beings who work around the fields. We'll see examples in class, and you'll have some examples also on your food for thought section, the complément de cours. On a larger scale, countries are trying to deal with the problem of global warming by organizing conferences. For example, the climate change conferences organized by the United Nations to take action, mostly to limit carbon emissions and to give funds to poor countries to be able to catch up with the environmental concerns and to adapt also to the climate change, to the impact of climate change. What most activists and most environmentalists say about these UN conferences is that they are not enough. They are big words and big concepts, and sometimes decisions are being taken, but these decisions are said not to be enough to really have an impact. For example, one of those conferences ended up with the Kyoto Protocol in 1997, the Climate Summit in Copenhagen in 2009. All of those things were failures because one country did not want, for example, the US or China did not want to pay more because they were polluting a lot, did not want to accept to reduce their carbon emissions so fast by so much, etc., etc. So they have always been considered as mostly failures. Last December in Paris was COP21, also a big summit with all the countries in the world. Again, it is said to have failed to reach the amount of cutting the emissions that was needed to really impact global a change, to really start a change in global warming. We are told that the temperatures around the globe may rise from 2 to 4 degrees in the next 50 years. It has been difficult for the countries around the world to, as a whole, as a group, to find a consensus on what was acceptable as a limit to CO2 emissions. So it's very difficult to find a global consensus, and some people are saying it will only happen if people, one by one, individuals and locally with associations, etc., change the way they live. Also, some people are saying, well, there is money to be made also in the going green, in the turning green, and corporations are interested in that. Some of them think that it's a real revolution in mentalities. There is a growing awareness everywhere, even with companies which produce oil, for example. Some people are saying that there's a real change in mentalities and a real awareness that is growing. Other people are saying this is just greenwashing. Greenwashing means they try to change their image to big polluters, to people who are conscious of the environmental challenges faced by the Earth. So you will hear about this idea of greenwashing as well. We'll see that in class. You need to know the names of a few groups around the world, famous groups who are fighting for the environment, to protect the environment. WWF focuses on the protection of animals, for example. Greenpeace, which since the 1970s, based in Holland, focuses on the protection of the environment in general and the fight against nuclear power, etc. For example, it's based in over 40 countries around the world. Another famous one is Friends of the Earth, which is a network of environmental organizations in 76 countries. In France, you have people, as I said, like Pierre Rabhi and his Colibri network, people like the Faucheurs Volontaires who are against the spread of GMOs for research and for consumption, people like Sortir du Nucléaire, etc. These are environmental activists who work in order to protect the environment. You might be interested in watching some documentaries on the subject. I will put some trailers online under the Food for Thought section. Darwin's Nightmare from 2004, An Inconvenient Truth as well from 2006, Our Daily Bread 2005, We Feed the World 2005, also Fast Food Nation, which is not a documentary but which is a fiction dealing with how hamburgers and fast food restaurants make their meat in the US, very interesting. In French, Le Monde selon Monsanto, 2008, Nos enfants nous accuseront, 2008, and Gasland, also about shale gas in the US, 2010. You'll see some trailers online. I'll put some online. I'll see you in class to put all this into practice, to see specific examples and to have a debate about all that. See you soon. Bye.